Good morning, everyone. It is Sunday, October 8th, 2017, and this is your fun fact of the day. There is a woman in the Bible named Hannah, namesake of my daughter, actually. This woman is pretty important in the overall priestly and kingly relations as far as the Old Testament is concerned. We read about her story in 1 Samuel chapters 1 and 2. There was a man named Elkanah. Elkanah had two wives. One had no children, named Hannah. The other had a lot of children. She was mean. Every year, Elkanah would go to the temple and offer stuff on behalf of his wives and children. And he would give the other wife and the children and sons and daughters that he had with her a lot, but he would give Hannah double because he loved her so much. And Hannah continued in love for her husband, but there's just an emptiness there, an emptiness that could not be filled. And one time after Elkanah comes and gives her double portion, she still is very sad, and he asks, "My wife, why are you still so forlorn? Am I not worth more to you than sons?" Well, they ate and they drank, but Hannah's heart was still very disturbed, so she goes to the temple. And there's a man, a priest, sitting at the doorpost to the temple, doing his duty, basically just monitoring the traffic in and out late at night. And Hannah comes and she is making her prayer before the Lord. Now, she's doing this in such a way that her lips are moving, but she's not saying anything. She's just mouthing her words. And Eli notices this, thinks she's drunk, says, "Woman, put your strong drink away. Go on. Go about your business." And she says, "No, I'm not drunk. I'm just exceedingly sad, okay? Please don't treat me as a worthless woman. I'm simply pouring out my soul to the Lord, begging him for a son, that if he would but give me, I will dedicate it to him." Eli says, "Woman, go in peace, and may the Lord bless you in all the ways that you wish." A little time later, Hannah conceives, bears a son. The son is named Samuel. And Hannah followed through on her prayer. She kept Samuel with her until he was weaned, and after he was weaned, she brought him and the sacrifice and offering necessary to the temple, and there Samuel stayed to just work in the temple and learn in the temple, basically become a priest, or at least serve them with them. In chapter 2 of Samuel, we have Hannah's exceedingly devout prayer to God, thanking him and giving him praise for the son that he granted her. There's a lot of deep theology in basically every sentence that she says. That whole thing could be a whole mess of Bible studies in itself, so I encourage you to check it out further. The story ends up with Eli, that priest that Hannah saw at the doorway to the temple. His sons are actually pretty rotten. They suck as priests. They take bribes. They sleep around. They take from the Lord's offering before it's offered to the Lord, which is basically a high crime to God himself. And Eli, their dad, confronts them about this, and they're like, whatever. Eventually they would be destroyed. And all this time, Samuel was growing in the Lord, as it says throughout this entire chapter 2. So I encourage you to check it out. Again, 1 Samuel chapters 1 and 2. Samuel would actually become pretty close to King David, a significantly high player as far as communications between God and man in Israel at that time. So shout out to the woman that would raise such a man. In other news, today is National Fluffer Nutter Day, also National Pierogi Day, and National Minister, Clergy, or Pastor Appreciation Day. That is something that not enough people do, is telling their ministers, whoever position they are, that they appreciate them, the work they put into leading the congregation, to praying, to writing sermons, to getting up there and teaching every week. All you who attend services, or know of a pastor at least, thank them for their dedication to their job. Whether you understand it or know it or not, faith-based organizations, churches included, contribute to a completely irreplaceable amount of America's country as a whole. Hope you've enjoyed this fun fact of the day. See you tomorrow.